Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to take you to the Imperial Palace, also known as the Forbidden City. Instead of taking you on a tour, which any decent documentary on TV can do, I'm going to share with you the first of many strange stories that happened inside the walls of the Forbidden City. Now, this first story is going to be so unbelievable and fantastical that it seems made up, fictional, written by a film writer. But I assure you, this story actually happened. And as always, every piece of supporting footage you'll see is filmed by myself on location. I can't wait. Let's get started. Our first story takes place on a chilly autumn evening. The date is November 27th, 1542, the 21st year of the Jiajing Emperor's reign over Imperial China. Now, the emperor is deep asleep when a dozen young palace maids slip into his bedroom chamber with a silk rope. These young maids had concocted their plan ahead of time. A couple of them will grab the Jiajing Emperor's arms, a couple more will hold down his legs, and finally they use the silk rope to strangle the emperor. The knot is now around the emperor's neck, and they're pulling on it as hard as they can. The Jiajing Emperor is screaming on top of his lungs, but to no avail because a silk handkerchief has been shoved down his throat to keep him quiet. A minute ago he was deep asleep. Now the emperor is facing death. To understand why these palace maids want to assassinate the Jiajing Emperor, this is where the story gets even stranger. The Jiajing Emperor, personal name Zhu, ascended to the throne and became the 11th emperor of the Ming dynasty when he was just 15 years old. You see, his predecessor, the Zhengde Emperor, died suddenly in 1521 without an appointed heir. And while the Jiajing Emperor was never groomed to become emperor, the line of succession appointed him as the next son of heaven when the prince ahead of him in line, his own father, had also passed away 2 years earlier in the year 1519. The boy emperor's reign got off to a good start actually. He presided over state affairs, reduced taxation, and the Ming Empire enjoyed about 15 years of relative peace and tranquility. Unfortunately, the good times would not last. The emperor would become obsessed with finding ways to live longer and became fanatically devoted to alchemy. The Jiajing Emperor looked for recipes all around the land to distill and refine alchemy pills that could prolong his life. Now, throughout history, emperors or kings are people just like us, with their own peculiarities. Just open Prince Harry's new book if you want a testament to this. King Leopold of Belgium used to be such a germaphobe that he had his newspaper ironed every morning to kill bacteria. And the Jiajing Emperor is also not the first imperial emperor to go to extreme means to live longer. But what the Jiajing Emperor put into his alchemy recipe was so strange that it sounds made up. One of the main ingredients was menstrual blood from young virgin ladies, taken from the young palace maids serving the emperor. And for good effect, to make the medicine even more potent, these poor maids would have to skip meals and give the menstrual blood on an empty stomach. For that, they hated the emperor for putting them through this unbelievably cruel and not to mention idiotic exercise. But what broke the camel's back and sealed the emperor's fate is an even stranger tale. One day, a court official wanting to impress and flatter the emperor presented the Jiajing Emperor with a rainbow turtle. You heard this right, a rainbow turtle. The shell of the turtle was in 5 different colors, and the official boldly claims, "Under your majesty's astute and benevolent reign, look at our great Ming dynasty. Only during such great and abundant times can the land produce such a miracle rainbow turtle." The Jiajing emperor goes, "Oh my gosh, what a miracle. We must take good care of this turtle," and of course, hands it off to his palace servants to take care of this new pet. Now, you and I, and anyone with basic common sense, know that there is no such thing as a rainbow turtle. It's total idiocy, and the rainbow colors on the turtle is simply paint. So, of course, in a couple of days, the palace maids noticed the colors began to wash off. Eventually, it's all gone. And most incredibly, but not surprisingly, the turtle dies shortly after. Now, in the emperor's eyes, this turtle is supposedly a miracle. And we all know that turtles are symbols of longevity, capable of living over 100 years. Yet, just a few days in the palace maid's care, the turtle croaks. These horrified servants can only imagine the punishment awaiting them, so they decide to take the initiative and devise the plot to murder the emperor. Back in the bedroom, the emperor is on his last breath, screaming to no avail, arms flailing, legs kicking, all while being held down by 8 young ladies. He's beginning to pass out. This is where our story takes a dramatic turn. You see, these young ladies brought into the Forbidden City to serve the emperor often come from humble families. From day one, they were taught the emperor is the son of heaven, the ultimate authority. And during imperial times, one had to kneel in the presence of the emperor. Even an official in a far-flung city receiving the emperor's edict had to kneel to receive the words from the Son of Heaven. And here, you have these young ladies trying to kill the Son of Heaven. Imagine what's going through their heads. In this unbelievable moment, these maids are so nervous, they accidentally tie not one, but 2 dead knots on the silk rope around the emperor's neck. So no matter how hard they pull, the rope would not become tighter. They become so desperate, some of them take off their hairpins and begin to stab the emperor all over his body. Now the maids are really nervous. No matter how hard they pull on the silk rope, the emperor would not die and continues to struggle. They begin to think to themselves, could he really be the Son of Heaven, ordained to live in perpetuity, and us mere mortals cannot harm him? This may sound incredibly nonsensical, but you have to remember that in that time, society and their superstitious belief systems were very different from those of today. The emperor was like a god to them. And it is in the midst of these thoughts that one maid named Jiajing begins to panic, leaves the scene of the crime, runs to Kunninggong where the empress resides and presumably is sleeping, wakes the empress up and tells her everything. The empress quickly arrives with guards, and these palace servants have no weapons beyond the rope and their hairpins, so they're quickly subdued and arrested. But by now, the emperor, after the strangulation and the stabbing, has passed out and become completely unresponsive, but still alive. All the court doctors are afraid for their lives and refuse to make medicine to give to the emperor, because in their eyes, the Jiajing emperor is not going to make it. And if he takes their medicine and dies, imagine the punishment awaiting them. So to absolve themselves of responsibility, they choose to do nothing. Finally, one doctor named Xu Shen steps up and makes medicine for the emperor. In the coming tense hours, the emperor is still in a state of unconsciousness, but suddenly he wakes up and spits out a knot of blood trapped in his throat from the strangulation. The emperor lives. Now, you'd think that this Dr. Xu Shen is up for the reward and promotion of his life, and he is. Except this poor guy is so frightened at the thought of the Son of Heaven dying on his watch, he falls critically ill himself and would pass away 3 days later. Now, there is debate on where this unbelievable event took place on the grounds of the Forbidden City. The reason there's great debate is because this was an event of major embarrassment for the Ming Dynasty, and records are not exactly clear on which room it happened in. You think about this. A dozen young maids, with only a rope, almost managed to kill the Son of Heaven. So you can imagine such an embarrassing event is not exactly something ceremoniously recorded by the court historians. Oh, on this day, in the 21st year, our great emperor was asleep in his room in so-and-so building and was almost assassinated by the very people serving him. Yeah, not exactly a proud moment for the empire, so we're left to guess where it happened. The first theory is that it happened in the bedroom of consort Duan, in this hall you see here where the consorts live in, called Wen Gong. Wen Gong is currently open to the public inside the Forbidden City, and it's easily identified by these 4 bronze phoenixes guarding the main chamber. Even today, a phoenix represents feminine energy, and dragons represent masculine energy. So it's very common to see marriages today with the groom wearing a dragon jewelry and the bride a phoenix jewelry to make a pair. Therefore, this hall that houses women, the emperor's consorts, would have phoenixes standing in the courtyard. The second theory is that the assassination attempt happened in this huge hall that you see here called the Jiajing Gong, one of the most majestic and architecturally striking buildings in the entire Forbidden City. It is also inside this hall that the only photograph that exists of an emperor sitting on the throne was taken in the year 1917 of the last emperor in Chinese history named Puyi, who would abdicate soon after that photograph was taken. This hall served not only as the emperor's bedroom, but interestingly, when an emperor passed away, customs dictated that his coffin would have to rest in this hall for a period of time before being placed in its final burial place. Now, Jiajing Gong has 2 separate floors and 9 total bedrooms, and every bedroom has 3 beds for a total of 27 beds. Partly, this is to confuse would-be assassins as to which bed the emperor is sleeping in, but also partly because of imperial customs passed down long prior to the Ming Dynasty. Yet the palace servants knew exactly which bed the emperor is in because they serve him every day. As to which room did it happen in, we can only guess, but today, both buildings in the Forbidden City are open to the public. Now, this entire assassination event has a name, 壬寅宫变, or the Palace Women's Uprising. Remember earlier I had mentioned it occurred on the evening of November 27, 1542. Well, that's based on the Western Gregorian calendar that's used throughout the world today. During the Ming Dynasty, their calendar system was based on a different cycle, and the event occurred in the evening of the Renying Day of October 21st to be exact. And some say the year 1542 was the Renying year, and this is how the event got its name, the Renying Gongbian, the palace uprising in the Renying year. The aftermath of the Renying Gongbian was terrible and swift. With the emperor still passed out in bed, the empress assumed temporary control and ordered each of the palace maids executed and their bodies publicly displayed as a warning. Even that one young lady who abandoned the plot and alerted the empress was not spared. The empress also had consort Duan put to death as well. Even though she was a favorite consort of the emperor, she was charged as a co-conspirator because the plot supposedly happened in her bedroom. Some accounts have her as an innocent bystander, that she was bathing and cleaning up in a nearby room when the entire plot happened. But nonetheless, the empress was all too happy to have her competition eliminated after this ordeal. This is the imperial palace, the Forbidden City. So many amazing, unbelievable, and breathtaking events happened here in the last 500 years, if only its walls can speak. Today is the first episode of a brand new series. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for many more shows to come. I'll see you on the next one.